عدي كل جزية ألسي كل جزية من جدالي تقراوي كبر حد غير بقالسو من جدال العنبر تنبر كخيف اللي تاريخ الأمريكا ما يكونني هراي كاوزي بالمقطع بحواتنا ዝተዳለወ ናይ እንግሊዝኛ ጽሑፍ ኣለና መድረኽ ብቐጥታ ንሕዋትና ተሰጋግረኩ እየ ብሓፍና
Tole, aku boleh. لا زي ما قلت ثاني هذه ايش مثلا
We, the Tigray, an Ethiopian citizen of Germany, would like to send our compliments to the People's Republic of China on assuming the presidency of the United Nations Security Council. We commend or outline focus areas of multilateralism, peacekeeping, and post-pandemic recovery in Africa. Over the past 2 decades, Ethiopia under the EPRDF regime in China forged an extremely important and successful partnership. Ethiopia and China's exemplary diplomatic and developmental relationship has become the standard which most African countries aim to replicate. The harmonious commercial and cultural ties between our two countries have resulted in a resilient relationship which has endured the inevitable challenges that come along with time. The strong diplomatic ties our two countries enjoyed over the years went beyond the numerous exchanges or visits by respective leaders and also included several diplomatic gestures of solidarity. In 2006, the Ethiopian Parliament lent its support to China's anti-secession law regarding Taiwan, and as a member of the UN Human Rights Council until 2007. Ethiopia, along with other African countries, helped defeat all motions criticizing the Chinese regime. China has always supported Ethiopia's stabilizing role in the region, and it was that peace and stability that allowed two nations to cooperate and do so productively as well as lucratively. We, the concerned citizens, are reaching out to you, people to people, to share some of our more alarming concerns. Firstly, the coronavirus pandemic has resulted in financial upheaval for several countries that rely heavily on foreign investment, developmental and economic partnerships. Ethiopia is such a country. The pandemic has caused a significant dent in the overall economic growth of the country, and recent statistics have shown the start of a very bleak trend in the country's economic development. The figures for the first quarter of 2021 are expected next week, and we will make sure to forward these on to you as soon as we have them. Ethiopia has been involved in several conflicts all over the country, namely Oromia since 2019, Benishangul, Gumis in the past few months, and the most brutal fighting has been in Tigray for over 6 months now. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, a Nobel Peace Prize recipient, waged a war against the people of Tigray on November 4, 2020.
This turned out to be a military offensive that included the use of costly drone attacks, airstrike offensives, and on-the-ground armed battles. A total communication blackout was also imposed by the central government, leaving Tigray inaccessible. The war has since resulted in the death of tens of thousands of civilians, 2.2 million people displaced, over 60,000 refugees who fled to Sudan, millions currently at risk of starvation. The war has rendered useless hundreds of millions of dollars worth of investments with the destruction of essential infrastructure, including one of the largest textile factories in Ethiopia. Billions of investment dollars have been wasted through the wanton destruction of various key infrastructure. This senseless war comes as Ethiopia faces economic challenges caused by the COVID-19 pandemic and devastating desert locusts, declining foreign exchange revenue due to poor economic performance and remittances. and more importantly, an increasing debt burden to finance luxury projects such as palace renovation and construction of expensive parks. The national debt burden has doubled between 2017 and 2020 from 27 billion in 2017 to 48 billion in 2020 and is projected to be 59 billion by the end of 2021. No economic growth or investment opportunities can be anticipated without peace and stability. Ethiopia's war on Tigray risks unraveling years of two-digit economic growth and social progress in Ethiopia, achieved in the past decade. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed promised to introduce policies aimed at strengthening the role of the private sector in driving growth through measures to encourage private investment, including foreign direct investment and public-private partnerships. However, he has been doing the opposite by taking actions that drain the FDI and private investors out of the country. Based on the government's Ministry of Trade and Industry report, from Tigray alone, Ethiopia is losing 40 million monthly revenues from exports, 40 million monthly revenues from internet and phone blackout, 30 million monthly from the loss of sales of Ethiopian airlines and the tourism sector. We believe these losses of revenues could have a dire cumulative effect and potentially cause serious loss to current major projects that investors have heavily invested in. These costs of the war are in addition to the direct cost of military equipment and personnel. The country is incurring billions of dollars as a result of the war. Data from ZP indicates that Ethiopia's military spending in 2019 has increased by 6.41% from that of 2018. War crimes are being committed in Tigray. As we stay here, life for civilians in Tigray has become extremely alarming as weaponized hunger grows and blockage of access to humanitarian assistance by Abiy's government remains an obstacle to reaching 4.5 million people with aid. As Abiy is determined to continue fighting after deceiving the international community, saying war is over, with communications shut off and access blocked, the UN Special Advisor on Genocide warned that without urgent measures, the risk of atrocity crimes remains high and likely to get worse. The major cause of the looming debt crisis in Ethiopia is not COVID-19. As the coronavirus continued to spread, many countries had been placing their citizens on varying forms of lockdown. Ethiopia did not impose a full-scale lockdown measure as there were no severe indicators to warrant such action. According to the global platelet-rich plasma, official COVID-19 deaths per 1,000 population for Ethiopia remained one of the lowest at 6, which is one of the lowest in a number that ranges from 1 to 16, lower than the world rate, which is 7, and also lower than the average for the world, which is 7.5. The impact of COVID-19 in the Ethiopian economy was so marginal that it did not cause the debt crisis, which should rather be credited to other factors such as the war and the overall lack of stability in the country.
The administration of Abiy Ahmed is using rape as a weapon in the war. As we are saying here, there's widespread sexual violence being reported out of Tigray by the Eritrean and Ethiopian troops. The current estimated figures are at over 10,000 rape survivors, but the UNFPA is currently recruiting sexual health workers for what is estimated will be 52,500 victims of rape in a region with a population of 6 million. In addition, in a rare government acknowledgement of that atrocities on the people, the Ethiopian Women's Minister Fissan Abdullahi tweeted on Thursday, February 11 as follows: "We have received a report back from our task force team on the ground in Tigray. They have unfortunately established rape as taken place conclusively and without a doubt. Moreover, the UN Special Representative of the Secretary General on Sexual Violence and Conflict, Ms. Pramila Patten, had to say this. There are disturbing reports of individuals allegedly forced to rape members of their own family under threats of imminent violence. Furthermore, eyewitnesses, medics, and aid workers had spoken of widespread sexual abuses in Tigray. As a woman, Your Excellency has a responsibility to help stopping the weaponized raping and sexual violence in the war-torn Tigray. We respectively call on you, Ambassador Wu Ken, and the People's Republic of China to once again extend their usual courtesy and stand in support of the people of Ethiopia, particularly the people of Tigray who are bearing the worst brunt on the conflict. We ask that you employ all the tools of the diplomacy at your disposal, especially as in your capacity as president of the UNCS, so that the Ethiopian regime is compelled to stop the war on Tigray immediately, to allow full access of humanitarian assistance and allow a UN-mandated independent investigation. It is unfortunate that PM Abiy Ahmed has ignored all the domestic and international calls to resolve the political crisis through dialogue, opting instead for a brutal military solution using sophisticated and costly weapons, including drones. Engaging with Ethiopia now in its current state as a country facing multiple conflicts would only ensure its integral demise. Integral demise will result in the further loss of existing investment and future opportunities for investment. It will also further aggravate the situation in Tigray by encouraging the prolongment of the costly as well as the humanitarian crisis. It is our sincere hope that Your Excellency and the People's Republic of China would stand in solidarity with the people of Tigray and Ethiopia and use all the tools of diplomacy at your disposal to ensure that Ethiopia and the Horn of Africa remains intact, secure and stable. Yours sincerely, Tigray Frauenverein in Deutschland.
تግራይ كل ጊዜ ደቃ ምን ተሃገሮም ምን ትግራይ ምን ትበልነት ምን ታሪክ ምን ባህሊ ምን ቋንቋ ዝቃለት ትግራይ አበረሃ አውሽቲ አብዓዲ ይኹነ ስደት كل ጊዜ አቆል ትግራይ ከም ዘለዎ ህዝብ ትግራይ بتقراوي تشفشف ولا تحيشات تبكيتي عن حال إساسا ورد العبي أحمد نلعيش بشورحي عبي عهد تقراي زي البدل شقر زي السلاح مع تاريخ عبي عهد ثلاثة عبي عهد ثلاث أكدي كم الفار عمد لك على الشيو كم بيات مسارح غيره زتقوم لو غيزه نلوي بتميز بتعمل ساعات حكمنا اما عاد موضوع الحبسنا عليه كلني عارفنا كل كده كتصليو تقراي ناس اسكبوت